Welcome back. Real estate, the really big topic on Fox Business all day today. Home prices are rising, jumping more than 8% in the past year. And now people are worrying whether or not we're looking at, get this, another housing bubble? On this very show, Ronald Reagan's former budget director, David Stockman, saying he's one of them.
It's the same old money printing by the Fed. When you drive the interest rate to zero, you're just encouraging the fast money to chase the next bubble. This is just easy money chasing prices for a short time, and we're going to be back in the soup.
All right, so let's kick this around. We've got real estate developer Donahue Peebles. He's here now on whether he is worried about another housing bubble. So are you worried?
Not at all. I think Stockman is missing one important point. That is, many of these buyers in markets like Miami that have bounced back, Washington, D.C., New York City, they're cash buyers and they're global buyers, and they're not borrowing money. And so the impact of the Fed keeping rates down doesn't have any impact on a Brazilian buyer in Miami, for example.
But what, the fear is that these are, you point out, they're cash buyers. They're not the first-time buyer. That person is still AWOL, meaning that the cash buyer is saying, hey, the Fed is inflating, possibly inflating with these easy money policies, assets like houses. So should buyers just be scared, be aware of that? Should they be cautious about that? Because some of these markets may be in a bubble because we got people coming in cherry picking foreclosures and the like.
Yeah, I think some markets that are not healthy, where the overall economy is not doing very well, those are markets that you need to be very careful about. But if you look at a South Florida economy, a New York City economy, the housing markets here are so strong because there's just a shrinking inventory. And as that inventory continues to decline and no new inventory coming up, it pushes property values up.
The viewer out there is probably thinking, hey, wait a second, I thought we were in this big, huge housing crack up, and all of a sudden we're in recovery mode. I want to read a statement that an analyst made about the Case-Shiller study, and this is really important because it gives a great perspective. This person is a critic. They're saying, watch out for the housing numbers that are coming in. The data is distorted and skewed. Basically, neighborhoods where subprime lending was rampant and there was massive foreclosures, and now you see people coming in to buy those houses. That's skewing the data upwards. There's been a lot of price appreciation, of course, since 2006 in those areas after really severe price declines. So should we be putting this all in perspective of what really happened in the housing market?
We should, but one of the things that we need to look at the median income price points is looking at rental rates. Rental rates have escalated over the past 5 years. Rental rates for apartments have skyrocketed. So now the delta between the cost of home ownership versus the cost of renting is equivalent, and in some instances it's actually now more expensive to rent than it is to buy. And in those markets, that's where you're seeing this rapid appreciation and this shrinking inventory.
I think, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but the viewer out there is saying, wait a second, should I take advantage of the rates now? Should I go ahead and buy? What do you think?
Absolutely, because rates are not going to get any lower. They're essentially zero interest rates today. They're not going to get any lower, and housing prices are going to move up. And there may very well be a minor correction in some markets, but overall, I think we're looking at the next 5 to 7 years of constant price appreciation on all sectors of the housing market in environments where the economies are healthy or in recovery.
Now, Don, isn't it true that you should be looking at markets where there's strong blue chip companies operating? I mean, that's really key, right?
Absolutely. Where the governments are pretty solvent and where private sector is expanding and where the tax policies are positive. Florida is going to do exceptionally well because also it's a zero income tax environment. And if, say, for New York, for example, where it's 14%, you're going to see more migration of more affluent New Yorkers and entrepreneurs moving their businesses south, and then, of course, bringing employees with them when hiring. And so those markets are going to, I think, improve as well.
I don't know. I just have to say to myself, hey, wait a second. Are we in an air pocket in the housing market? In other words, the Fed at some point is going to see, hey, bond yields are rising, meaning that the mortgage rates are tied to bond yields, and that mortgage rates are going to be going up, and that could be coming down upon us within the next year or so. So should you grab it now ahead of the interest? I'm saying interest rates could be going up within the next couple of years.
I think you're right. In the next couple of years, as the housing market and the economy continue this slow recovery, I think ultimately we will see rates go up, but not for the next year or so. And I think now is the best time to be buying real estate, and anyone who can, especially renters, should be looking to buy right now.
Yeah, there's another important piece of data data that the viewer needs to know about, and that is, of course, the people who are upside down in their mortgage. In other words, there's about 10.4 million, 10.6 million people who are in what's called negative equity, meaning their mortgage is worth more than their house. So there was a big fear. We've been talking, I mean, people have been saying this for 3 years now. Those people are going to flood into the market and basically cause housing prices to plummet. But I'm thinking that, hey, they're locked in their mortgage. They can't get out of that mortgage so quickly, right? I mean, they have to stay in that mortgage, and until that, they're not going to become flooding into the market. What do you think?
Well, of course, I agree with you entirely for that reason, and also everybody who's upside down in their mortgage doesn't want to move, doesn't need to move, and doesn't want to sell. And then also, those numbers are shrinking each month. As we see the housing market recover and values recover, those recoveries take place in those who are upside down in their mortgages as well.
Right.
And that's the best evidence of a solid real estate market, is people are still sticking with their mortgages that they're upside down in and paying them.
I want to switch gears quickly. Final point. There's been a criticism out there now that the Democrat President Bill Clinton and other people in Congress basically put in place a very dangerous national housing policy. And now we've got the Federal Reserve coming to the rescue of a very dangerous economic policy that was enacted by Washington, D.C. Many Democrats down there. What do you make of that?
Well, I'm not sure that's a Democratic problem. I do think that our economy is far too dependent on the housing sector, and that's unfortunate because we have lost a lot of ground.
Do you think it was wrong to have that national housing, so to speak, policy in place?
Well, I think it was ill-advised to have an economy propped up by the housing sector, and that may have initiated with Clinton, but certainly George W. pushed that along throughout his presidency. So the issue here is the economy needs to be broader, and we've all been talking about this now for quite a while in terms of expanding our manufacturing businesses and being more competitive as a country in terms of where we have jobs and to grow our jobs. That's the weakness of the current economy right now.
All right, Mr. Don Peebles, the Peebles Corporation Chairman and CEO. So good to be with you, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.